Alright Aaron, welcome to Flight Experience flight number 556. We're currently parked here at the holding point of 16 right, and in a minute you're going to taxi the aircraft along this yellow line, line us up on the runway, and then conduct a takeoff on runway 16, which takes us over Botany Bay. We'll turn left, fly over the city, and then come in and do an approach and landing. We'll do that 2 times here before flying across to Queenstown. So before we do any of that, I just need to teach you the basics of flying. So just place your hands on the control column. It is a little bit like driving a car when you're turning, in that if you want to turn right, you turn the steering wheel to the right, so practice doing that now. If you want to turn left, you turn the steering wheel to the left. Unlike a car, we can climb and descend, so if you pull back on the control column, that raises the nose and the aircraft will climb. If we push forward on the control column, the nose will go down and the aircraft will descend. Now it's a little bit different to driving a car, and just watch that button because that's the transmit button for the radio. So yeah, try to avoid that one. It's a little bit different to driving a car in that in a car, if you want to be in a sustained left-hand turn, you keep the steering wheel deflected to the left. In an aeroplane, what the steering wheel actually does is change the aircraft attitude. So we're flying wings level there, we want to turn left, we roll the aircraft left. Once we're happy with the angle that we've got, we bring the steering wheel off, and the aircraft will then stay there, it won't continue to roll, and it will then go into a turn. Once we want to stop the turn, we've got to roll the other way to bring the wings level to the horizon. Okay, so it's a bit different to driving a car. You'll see once we get airborne, it's quite intuitive. Okay, same in the pitch. So once we've got the nose where we want, ease off, and the nose will stay there. If we don't do that, it'll keep pitching upwards. Alright, so that's how we control the aircraft in the air. On the ground, we use the rudder pedals. Alright, so if we want to turn the aircraft right, a little bit of right rudder. If we want to turn the aircraft left, a little bit of left rudder. That's during the takeoff roll and maneuvering around the apron here. Once we're airborne, we don't need to use the rudder pedals. Alright, it's purely the control column.
But then you just use them as footrest?
As footrest, yeah, that's right, yeah, just rest your feet on them. That's it. Okay, that's basically how we control the aircraft in the air and on the ground. Over here we've got 2 thrust levers, one for each engine, but we move them as one. So if I move them forward, you'll see the RPM increases and the aircraft goes faster. If I pull them back, the RPM decreases and the aircraft slows down. Notice there's a lag, it's not instantaneous, so you have to allow for that when you want to increase power or decrease power. Having said that, we'll use auto throttle for a lot of this flight, which is a bit like cruise control in the car. We set the speed up here, and then the computer sets the thrust required to maintain that speed, leaving you free to fly the aircraft without worrying about what you need to do with throttles. Okay. Over here we've got 2 reverse thrust levers. So they're used for the final full stop landing, as you would have seen in the video. So I'll get you to practice bringing those on all the way up. So it goes into reverse, and the aircraft slows down. And then that's after you've got all wheels on the ground, and it just helps slow the aircraft very quickly. Down all the way off to disengage. Over here we've got the landing gear lever. It's currently the down position. Once we get airborne, you'll hear me say pause your rate of climb, gear up. Just reach across, pull it out, transition to the up position. Okay, and vice versa for the way down. So I'll get you to bring that back down there. Good. Over here we've got the flap lever. This is the lever that controls the position of the flaps, which are at the trailing edge of the wing. And the other bits that come out, you've probably seen them when you've been a passenger. When you come into land, they come out, makes the wing look bigger. That allows the aircraft to fly slower, and we can affect the landing. Okay, so it's currently at 5 degrees. We need to retract it to 0 once we get airborne and extend it down to 30 when we're coming into land. We'll do that in stages. I'll call them out. When I say flaps 1, you just need to raise it, drop it into flap 1. When I say flap 0, just raise it up there. Alright, so I'll get you to bring that back to 5 so you can see what that's like. That's it. Alrighty, good. That's basically it. Once we land over at Queenstown, we'll probably taxi off the runway, and we use the tiller wheel over there. If you push that forward, that turns the aircraft right. Pull it back, turns the aircraft left. So that's steering the aircraft when you're on the ground, just like you would a car.
How is that different to the...
This is for the takeoff roll.
okay.
Yeah, for the takeoff roll, it's actually the rudder that provides an aerodynamic force which makes the aircraft turn left or right. Yeah. Whereas when you want to turn sharply, you want to turn the nose wheels, you use that one over there. Okay. All right. Now we monitor our performance on the primary flight display, which is that one there. So it's a TV screen which incorporates an artificial horizon. So blue is the sky, brown is the ground. That's the nose of the aircraft there, and these are the two wings. All right. That's our speed there in knots, and that's our altitude in feet above sea level. To the right is the navigation display, which is a lot like a GPS screen in your car. Okay, so it lets us orientate ourselves relative to the ground. So that triangle is the aircraft. All right. So FunFly, you chose FunFly, wasn't it? Yeah. So that's basically the only thing that you need to really know about. A lot of other things going on. You don't need to worry about those. I'll just direct you at things that you need to switch on and off, and I'll tell you what they are as we need them. All right. So to get onto the runway now, I need you to switch on all of these landing lights. I need you to switch on the strobes. Strobe lights are the ones that flash all the way on, like that. And fasten seatbelt sign, cycle off and then back on to let everyone know that we're about to take off. That's it, good. Okay, park brake off. That's it. And then bump the throttles forward, and you can use the tiller wheel to follow the yellow line around onto the runway. Not too much, just a little bit, just to get going. We're not going to take off yet. So use the tiller wheel over there. And that's enough throttle, bring it back now. All the way back, all the way back. That's it. And just follow that yellow line all the way onto the runway. A little bit more to the left. So we want to line up on that center line, and basically we're lined up on that when it appears to pass through your right leg. So straighten her up there and that will be right. So about there, perfect. Okay, put the park brake back on. Good. So that's almost lined up. So if you put your head in the middle, you'll see that we're almost in the middle of the runway. So it looks a bit skew-if, so you have to make a mental note of that. That's what it should look like. All right. Okay, so now for the takeoff brief. You're going to be the pilot flying, I'm going to be the pilot monitoring. So I'm going to be looking in here, calling out a series of speeds. You're going to be looking out there, keeping the aircraft rolling down the runway. It should. I'm going to call out 80 knots, V1, and then rotate. When you hear me say rotate, your eyes transition from looking at the runway to looking at this dot here, and you pull back on the control column until you raise the dot from on the horizon to 15 degrees above the horizon, which is that one there. That's 10 and that's 5. So the big one's increments of 5 degrees. Okay. Could hear an aeroplane landing. Okay. So yeah, nice and gently and smoothly. Don't yank it back, otherwise you'll hit the tail or stall the aircraft. Okay. All right. So let's do it. Okay. Park brake off. Edge the throttles forward only to 40%. So keep going. Keep going, keep going. Yeah, stop there. Let the engines catch up. We go to 40% to make sure that the engines are stable and operating correctly and ready to accept takeoff thrust. They look as if they are. So what we're going to do, we're going to do derated thrust takeoff. So press N1 here. And the computer will set the thrust required for this runway. So both hands on the control column now. And remember, rudder pedals to keep you straight on the runway. .80 knots, a little bit of right rudder, right, a little bit of right, yeah, bit more, yeah, not the steering wheel, the rudder, yeah. V1, rotate, so pull back on the control column now. Yeah, 15, yep, check it forward there, that's good. Positive rate of climb, gear up. Perfect. And just hold that. Make sure the wings are parallel to the horizon, so just a little bit of left roll required. Yeah. And as we pass 1,000 feet, which we're about to do, start lowering the nose down to 10 degrees. That allows the aircraft to accelerate and we can retract the flap. I'll do some after takeoff checks. That's it. Yeah, 10 degrees, good. Flaps can come up to 1. And we'll level off at 2,500. So start lowering the nose now all the way down to 3 degrees. So all the way down. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going. That's 7.5. That's 5. 3's there. And hold it there. That's it. Flaps can come up to 0. Yeah. And just push forward. Keep it at 3 degrees. Okay, good. Good takeoff. All right, let's go around to the left now. I'll get you to do a left-hand turn. So roll the aircraft left, and we're going to turn through 180 degrees. So, okay, so no, left, the other. That's it. So around we go, and I'll dial up the heading I want you to fly. Pull the nose up because we're actually diving the aircraft. You've got to hold the nose all the way up at 5 degrees in the turn. Turning a little bit too steeply, that's what the bank angle thing was. So just, yeah, hold, so yeah, the nose is there is fine. Yeah. And just roll off a little bit of bank. So basically we want 25 degrees in the turn. So see that sky pointer there? That's 20 and that's 30. So if you stop it there, that's good. That's it.
How are we going to approach? We're going to come in over the city. And
over the city, yeah.
And then
yeah.
Down.
So we're going to fly past the city and come around and turn around and come out, land on the same runway.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what's called a circuit. Yeah, roll on a little bit more banks. We've come down 10 degrees now, so roll on a bit more, steeper angle. Yeah, 20 degrees is good if you're going to do only a small turn, which is all we've got left to go. So you anticipate by about 10 degrees now, start rolling the other way, and by the time you've rolled out, you'll be flying the heading we want. Yeah.
2,500.
That's it. So wings level now. So parallel to the horizon. And hold them up. Hold the nose up at 3 degrees, which is about there. Good. All right, any questions?
No, I don't know. Not yet. I don't think. It's quite sensitive, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a heavy aeroplane, but yeah, because we're flying at 230 knots, which is about 420 kilometers per hour. So there's a lot of aerodynamic forces over the wings and the controls. So yeah, it is quite sensitive.
That's the degrees there, isn't it?
That's the altitude, and that's the heading we want to fly. So you just need to come around to the left again. So the altitude we want is 2,000 feet. So we're descending. You need to just raise the nose a touch. So that's the heading we want. So roll the other way now. You've got to do it quickly, otherwise you'll go straight through and then you have to correct the other way again.
Oops, still. And then, so altitude, you wanted about 2,000, was it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So lower the nose all the way back down to 3 degrees now. That's it. And wings parallel to the horizon. So you've got to roll left. And you got to hold the nose up. So otherwise we're going like this. So hold the nose up at 3 degrees. and just come around to the left onto that heading. Yeah, don't let the nose come up that much.
I'm naturally pulling back when I turn.
Yeah, well you do need to a little bit, but not that much. So push it all the way back down. At the same time, roll the wings level because we're on the heading that we want. Yeah, so just positively push it forward until we're at 3 degrees, which is what we want. Which is there, yeah, and then just hold it there. Okay, that's the downwind lead, so we've got to slow down now, and we're going to come in and do what's called a touch and go landing. All right, so we'll start turning left now. So hold the nose up because we're diving the aircraft now. So I'll just give you a little bit of help here. Yeah, so we want to turn back towards the runway, so that's what we're going to do now. No, that's okay. That's all right. Yeah, 1.5. So we've got the nose. We want to descend a little bit, so we're back at the altitude we want to be. So we've got to raise the nose back up to 5 degrees, which is there. There. Okay. Now, as we're doing that, flap can come out to 1, and landing gear can come down. That's it. Okay, so we can roll off a little bit of bank, turning too steeply now. So about there is okay. Don't let the nose come up too far. That's it. Okay, flaps can come down to 5. And if you look out there, you can see the runway we're going to land on, coming up at around 11 o'clock now. So we just got to, yeah, that's right, the one on the right. So keep the aircraft turning a little bit more. Hold the nose up now. Hold it up at about 5 degrees. About there, that's it. And then just control the aircraft as required so that we roll out on the extended center line. So it's going to turn a little bit inside it now, so just roll off there and we'll fly across to it. Yeah, so we don't look at this anymore, we just look at the runway. Yeah, so we fly visually. So you see where those 2 red lights are? They're at the end of the runway, so we've got to sort of not head for those, we've got to head to intercept a line that will take us into that. So we're just going to come around this way for a bit. and sorry? Yeah, and now we can start turning the other way. Okay, flaps can come down to 15 now. That's it, that's looking good. So we're going to do a touch and go on this one. Touch and go, yeah. So we're not going to actually stop on the runway. That's how pilots practice their takeoffs and landings. So we're going to touch down, then I'll get you to apply full power and we'll take off again. So I'll do some pre-landing checks. Yeah, so we're almost lined up, so not quite. So just come around to the right just a touch more. The flaps can come down to 30. That's it, and now just lower the nose just a touch so we can see the runway and then straighten her up. We're now on the extended center line, so we just got to straighten the aircraft up so we fly straight down. There we go.
So I've always wondered, like, how, when you're sort of coming to land, how do you sort of control the descent? You're sort of doing it
through this, yeah, that's right, yeah, yep.
So what's to stop some pilots sort of, going down too quickly or they're just not training?
Yeah, that's right, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So
Over the controls sort of just gradually bring...
no, we're flying it now. So we're maintaining what's called a 3-degree approach path. And the lights help us. See how they're 2 white, 2 reds? So that means we're on the correct approach. So we're just going to make small movements to maintain that. We're sort of off to the right of the runway now, so we just need to come back to towards the left. I'm now going to disconnect the auto throttle, so place your right hand on the throttles, and we need to maintain 153 knots. So we're getting a little bit fast, so just bring the throttles back. And now we can straighten the other way.
500. 400. 300.
When you hear the 50-foot call out,
200.
when you hear the 50-foot call out, bring the throttle all the way back.
Approaching minimums. 50.
50 all the way back. And then we just fly the aircraft onto the runway. So let it come down.
90.
And then as we get closer, just raise the nose just a touch so we touch down on the main wheels, and then let it come forward. Good. Okay, apply full power all the way forward. And rotate. So bring the nose back up to 15 degrees. So pull back. That's it. Check it there. Check it forward. Good. Pos rate of climb, gear up. This one there, yep. Out and up. That's it. And flaps can come up to 5. Good. Hold it at 10 degrees now so we can accelerate. Keep the wings level, so parallel to the horizon. That's it. And flaps up to 1. And flaps up. Up, yeah. Okay, lower the nose now down to 3 degrees. Good. And hold it there at 3. So don't let it go down, so you've got to hold it there at 3. So pull back up.
2500.
I'll do some after takeoff checks. And we'll go into that left-hand turn now. So start rolling the aircraft left. Hold the nose up, otherwise we're going to lose the height. Got to pull back. That's 25 degrees there. That's enough. So roll off and pull back at the same time. 5 degrees there. Yeah. That's it. Don't be afraid to apply force. Don't let the nose drop. You got to hold it there. That's it. That's a little bit too high, 10 degrees, so let the nose come back down to 5. Yeah. Yeah, doing good. Any questions?
That's well, actually, I noticed when we sort of hit the run, like it sort of, I think I was expecting to hear the force. The force is a simulator, not like that.
We're not on hydraulic jacks, no. It's a fixed base simulator. Yeah, yeah. That's why you don't really feel any turning forces either. Yeah, it's all the visuals that that your brain makes you feel as if you're flying. But yeah, there's no actual. Yeah, and roll the other way now as we're approaching the heading. So yep, roll the other way. Keep going, till the wings are parallel. Otherwise, we'll miss it. That's it. There. Yeah, more and more airlines are using these sort of fixed base simulators because it's all procedural, and the hydraulics actually are high maintenance item. Yeah, airlines still of course have them, but yeah, these ones are increasingly becoming more popular.
Is it mandatory for pilots to like learn in sort of like little light aircraft before you sort of come and do the commercial aircraft?
Yeah, it is at the moment. I don't think any airline in the world actually has some sort of simulator program that trains pilot from ab initio. No, that's not possible. All countries, civil aviation organisations require commercial pilots licenses, and up until today, that still means getting flight training on a real aircraft, which is a light aircraft. Yeah. Yeah.
So what about 5 degrees?
No, 3 degrees is good. Yeah, yeah. 5 degrees in the turn. We're still losing a little bit of height, which means you're probably sort of maybe a little bit low, so about there. Hold it at 5 so we can climb back up to 2,000. This time we're going to do a full stop landing, which means we're actually going to stop on the runway, which means we need to use the auto brake, which I'm now dialing up, and the speed brake. Those two things will be deployed automatically, and once you touch down, you'll have to remember to bring out the reverse thrust. That's the manual thing, yep. Okay, so it's round to the left to maintain the heading. So there's the city as we go by. Yeah, correct the wings the other way, otherwise you'll go straight through your heading. And lower the nose at the same time. Keep pushing. Okay, so approaching the 7-mile ring, we can start to slow the aircraft down. Take one stage of flap. And we'll start the left-hand turn now. So, yep, start the left-hand turn back towards the runway heading. Hold the nose up. Hold the nose up at 5 degrees. Not more than 5 degrees, just add 5 degrees in the turn. And that's enough angle of bank, not more than that. And see how you let the nose drop? You got to apply back pressure. You got to actually physically pull the control column back to raise the nose up to 5 degrees, which is there. That's it. Yeah, so you got to physically keep it there. Yeah. Flaps down to 5 now. That's it. And as the aircraft slows down, progressively have to apply more back pressure to keep it there. Up at 5 degrees. Keep the angle of bank on. That's it. And landing, you can come down now.
Pilots do, like, I know do circuits in the simulator, but do they actually do it in practice, like at like a big airport like Sydney, or?
No, it's too expensive. It's too expensive. That's why the simulators have developed to a point where they're so good now that because it was just too expensive to do it in the real plane. Yeah.
So start straight.
Not yet. Yeah, just you need to fly. Yeah, you actually roll the wings level there. We'll fly across. Yeah, flaps down to 15.
That was the pitch of the flap? Is that the degree?
15 degrees, yeah, that's right, yeah. Now we're approaching the center line, so start the turn towards the left to line us up. And it's 70 tons of aeroplane, so you just have to treat it, you just have to anticipate so that you can fly it gently, because otherwise it makes the passengers sick. And we're almost lined up there, so that's good. So the runway is in the windscreen where it should be. Don't let it move around. If it starts to move around, you move the control column to stop it. Okay, so a little bit towards the left now, and now we're perfectly lined up. Okay, flaps down to 30. That's it. And our approach speed is 153 knots.
Seems very precise, 153.
Yeah, it is. That's right. Yep. It's based on the weight of the aircraft and, well, basically the weight of the aircraft, that's right.
So
Yeah.
number of passengers on board, luggage.
Fuel,
So
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all like the pre-flight calculations.
Well, it gives me a constant update. Depending on how much fuel we burnt off, that number will change.
Okay.
Yeah. So I add 5 knots to that as a safety buffer.
500.
And then small movements around where we are to keep the runway fixed in the windscreen. So that looks good. So we've got 3 greens, we've got full flat, pre-landing checks are complete, Captain, for a full stop landing. So I'll disconnect the auto throttles, rest your hand there, and we're maintaining 153 knots. So if it goes lower than 53, just give it a bit of throttle, just a touch.
Whereabouts, sorry.
If it goes less than 153, okay.
200.
If it goes more, then you bring it back. Okay. Okay, now it's more, so bring it back. Once you hear the 50-foot call out, bring the throttle all the way back.
100. Approaching minimums. 50. 40.
That's it, all the way back.
30.
And then just gently raise the nose
10.
and let the aircraft touch down on the main wheels. Let the nose come down now. Let go. That's it. And reverse thrust. And once we see 60 knots, reverse thrust off all the way down. And the aircraft will come to a halt in a minute. Congratulations, Captain. Welcome to Sydney. Well done.
So I'm curious, like sometimes when you land, like sometimes the thrusts seem harder than other times. Like sometimes you land and you hit the thrusts and it's sort of pretty steady, but then sometimes you hit and it's like you just feel like the pilots are really jacking on the brakes. Is it? I don't know. It's just that lever, but can you control that, or is it sort of just the weather conditions sort of make it sound like it's a harder?
It could be. I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to say, but reverse thrust is only one setting, full on and full off. If it's a short runway, they can use more auto brake so that the braking is stronger, so the deceleration is bigger. But for most runways like this one, you wouldn't want to use the brakes too much if there's plenty of runway. So yeah.
Okay.
So if you're going into Queenstown like now, for example, you want maximum braking because it's a short runway.
So we need to use auto brakes.
Auto brake would go to maximum in that case, yeah, and we'd use 40-degree flap, which slows the aircraft down even more. Yeah. So you'll see that now. Let's go across.
I'm actually going to Queenstown in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it'll be good to see it in the sim now.
Yeah. I was just looking out the window and seeing the mountain beside us.
Yeah. So have you been there before?
Yeah, a few times.
Okay.
So we have to do sort of like a landing like from down the valley and then a landing from the lakeside. Can we do both approaches?
Hang on a sec. Sorry, what was that?
Can we do both approaches, like one down the valley and then one from the lake and into the airport that way?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're saying, but I think I'll explain it in a minute. I think it's a figure 8 that we do there, so you're going to see the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we land, the two times that we land, are we approaching from different directions?
It'll be from runway 23. We'll do that one first. And if you want to come on the other one, I suppose we could maneuver the aircraft.
It's the same runway, but you're approaching, so bearing. So the lake is.
The lake's ahead of us.
The lake's ahead of us. So,
Yeah.
So we'll be landing like
We'll
in this direction, and then can we come in, like approach coming in the opposite direction, so we're landing, heading back this way.
all right. Okay. We could try that.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So we'll do one on runway 23, and then we'll come in the other way. Yeah. All right. We can do that. Yeah. No worries. All right. So I just got to tell it that we're in Queenstown now. So. In ZQN. Alrighty, okay, so almost there. Good. Okay, so you remember the drill, you'll be the pilot flying, so I'll call out the speeds again, 80 knots, V1, and then rotate. So park brake off, advance the throttles to 40%. We'll see that the engines are stable. And yes, they are. This time I'll get you to do a manual takeoff, so apply full thrust. A little bit of right rudder to keep us on the runway. Rudder. Yeah, keep the wings level, otherwise the wing will hit the ground. 80 knots. A little bit of left rudder now. Bit of right.
V1.
And rotate. So pull back on the control column. That's it. Hold it there at 15 degrees. Positive rate, gear up. This one, gear up, yep. All the way, that's it. And lower the nose all the way down to 10 degrees. And hold it there. Just come around to the left a little bit so we're not heading towards that mountain, back onto the heading that we want. And we'll level off at 5,000 feet. Yep, wings level. So you'll notice we're only going to be flying at 190 knots this time, and with 5 degrees of flap. That's because we want to fly slowly to be able to maneuver around these mountains,
Okay.
in amongst these mountains in the valley where the airport is. Okay, or yeah, just straighten her up there. And it's not, so you've got to hold it up at 10 degrees. We want to still keep climbing to 5,000 feet. That's it. That's it. Now lower the nose down to 3 degrees. Between 3 and 5 degrees. That's it. Good. Now, what makes this approach difficult is that we have to maneuver inside these mountains. So we're going to get you to turn through more than 180 degrees towards the left. So I'm dialing up the heading now. So we're going to fly all the way around onto 030. Hold the nose up, otherwise you'll descend. That's it. So pull back at the same time, about there. That's enough angle of bank. And just hold the nose up at 3. No, I've never been. I want to go this year. Yeah. No, I've only ever been to Queenstown in the simulator.
That's probably why I was a bit gobbledygook when I was explaining where I wanted to fly.
No, I knew what you were saying. I was just thinking, oh, how do we do that? Yeah, all right, okay. So you're going to have to steepen the turn up a bit. See how this mountain's coming up? Yeah, that's it, yeah. That should do it. Not too steeply. And then just pull back. Don't let the nose drop, because the steeper the bank angle, the more pressure you have to put to maintain the nose position. That's it. Now start rolling out the other way. Yeah. So we're coming up to the heading that we want. So yeah, just roll out, drop the nose to back to 3. So we're on the heading now. So roll the other way. That's it. Good. All right, so there's the lake you were talking about.
Yeah.
So you want to come in on this and land this way on the second approach?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, all right, we can do that. So on this approach, we're going to overfly the airfield, and then come around and do the second half of the figure 8. So keep the nose up.
I think all the time I've played in Queensland, I don't think I've actually landed in this direction. I've always come down the valley.
Yes.
And, I think I might have taken off from that direction once before. But
Right. Right.
so 40 grounded, which would still be about 5,000 or?
Yeah, preferably, but that's okay. We're a little bit off, but yeah, just hold the nose up so we don't lose any more. Just come around to the left onto this heading. Just a few degrees, yeah.
Okay, so when you set those controls, that's what sets that there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just dialing it up here to give you a visual indication of which heading I want you to fly. Yeah, roll the other way now, once we're on the heading. And just lower the nose back down to 5 degrees.
How much does the wind, so like in a place like Queenstown where the wind's coming off the mountains, how much does that sort of keep a drag underneath the plane or sort of like affect the ability to keep the plane stable?
Well, that would be turbulence. I mean, if you've got winds that are coming off mountains and causing turbulence, that affects the aircraft because it creates turbulence, but it doesn't. I mean, other than that, the aircraft is flying through the air, so if the air is moving, it doesn't really make that much difference to the aircraft aerodynamics itself. Just in terms of what it does relative to the ground is what will happen, and that can have various effects. Like it can upset passengers. It can, if it's very turbulent, it could overstress the aeroplane. But generally, airplanes are designed to handle most weather conditions. Okay, so landing gear down now. We're coming up to the second half of that figure 8. And let's start the turn towards the right. So we're now going to do the second half of the figure 8. Not too steep, that's enough. And yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the difference. Now hold the nose up because we're descending very rapidly now. You've got to hold it up at 5 degrees. Keep the turn going, however, because we want to end up on the river over there and follow the river in. That's it. Okay, flap down to 15. And then pick up the river and follow the river in. So just let the nose come down just a touch and steepen the turn up a bit, otherwise we're going to shoot past the river. Yeah, hold the nose up, we're letting it drop too far now. Okay, so you see the runway there? So pick up a line so that we're flying in straight towards the runway. Basically the river, that part of the river takes you straight in. So roll the wings the other way now. Just lower the nose a touch and flap down to 30. So we're going to do a touch and go on this one. No, now we're doing it visually with the runway. So we want the runway about a third of the way up the windscreen, so maybe just a little bit lower. And come around closer to the mountain so that we pick up the correct line. Keep coming around to the left. We're not lined up yet.
1,000.
Okay, so now, yep, now we can straighten her up. About there.
Straight coming in.
500.
What's that?
Feels like we're coming in on an angle.
Yeah, we are.
400.
So we've got to be more like this. Now we can straighten her up.
300.
Okay, hand on the throttles.
200.
That's it, now we're straight.
100.
Throttle. Bring the throttles back.
50. 40.
And then raise the nose just a touch so we touch down on the main wheels. And let it go now. Let the nose wheel go down. Okay, full power all the way forward. A little bit of right rudder. And rotate. So pull back. That's it. Yeah, 15 degrees, check forward. Positive rate, gear up. Okay, don't keep pulling back, we want to keep it forward at 15 degrees, that's it there. Roll the wings level. Okay. Flaps up to 5. That's it. Good. Okay, yeah, it looked skewy because we weren't properly lined up.
Still getting 15.
10 degrees now because we're past 1,000 feet, yeah. Alright, so this time we'll come in on the opposite runway, runway 05. So what we'll do is we'll extend out this way a little bit, we'll do a figure 8 and come down and land in this way.
2,500.
Okay, so lower the nose now all the way down to 3 degrees, we'll level out at 5,000 feet and hold it there.
Are you qualified to fly other planes as well, or is it mainly just 737?
Oh no, fly all sorts of things, yeah.
What's the biggest one that you qualified?
Actually smaller than the 737. I flew smaller military jets in the Air Force, the RAAF. So, same sort of performance, but just smaller and nimbler. Yeah. Yourself? What's your interest in aviation?
I've just always liked airlines.
Yeah.
Yeah, just love what it's just.
Yeah.
I just love following it.
Right.
Everything it's up to, and
Right.
so I guess it's sort of the next bit of my interest.
Yeah.
I don't intend on ever becoming a pilot, but it's just good just to sort of see what happens.
Okay. All right. So what we'll do now is I'll get you to do a 180-degree turn. So towards the left. Yeah. Yeah, no, we'll be okay. Just hold the nose up at 5 degrees so we don't descend. Okay, so this time it's going to be a full stop, so I'll get all the braking features set up. So we need maximum braking, speed brake, do the pre-landing checks, and reverse thrust. You got to get on it pretty quickly on this one because it's a short runway. Yeah. Okay, so start to roll out of the turn now. That's it. And just, yep, fly that heading, that's a good one. We don't want to climb, so lower the nose, back down to 3 degrees. And in fact what we can do is we can end up a little bit closer. See the runway in the distance, so we've got to end up that way to come in more straight down. So get closer to that mountain over there. Hold the nose up, don't start to descend yet. Alright, landing gear down. Around that, keep going that way. We need to line up with the runway, so you've got to end up over there, so we come straight down. Hold the nose up. Hold it at 2.5 degrees. That's it, about there. Okay, flaps down to 15. You're still turning that way. We need to head up over that. Yeah, we need to sort of get as close to these mountains as possible to line up with this runway, which is going to be a bit difficult because, yeah, it's not quite lined up. So, yeah, just fly it that way until we intercept the extended center line. Yeah. In fact, yeah, now we're going to have to start turning this way because that actually intersects the approach, so we're going to have to sort of fly around it. Okay, flaps down to 40. And the approach speed this time is going to be 143. So I'll just guide you along with this one because it's a bit tricky. Okay, pre-landing checks complete. We've got 3 greens, full flat, so we're clear for a full stop landing, Captain.
1,000.
So it gets quite close to that mountain there, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so now we're clear of it. We can come around to the left and line us up, which we are about there. Okay. Alright, there we go. Okay, so the runway is about where it should be in the windscreen, about 1/3 of the way up. So small movements now just to keep us lined up. We've drifted too much this way, so you've got to come around to the right. Now we're lined up. Correct the other way. You've got to remember there's 70 tons of inertia. So just lightly on the controls, I think you're sort of tightening up. That's it. That's it. Okay. Hands on the throttle. Maintain 143 knots. Bring it back a touch.
500.
And now straighten her up.
400. 300.
Bring the throttles back.
100. 50. 40. 30.
And raise the nose.
10.
Just there. Okay, let it go. And reverse thrust. And once you see 60 knots, reverse thrust off. Off, yeah, yep. Oh, the left one, 60 knot, yeah, the speed, yeah. Okay, good. Well, congratulations, welcome to Queenstown. You can see it's quite difficult.
Yeah, it's just those damn mountains.
Yeah, yeah. So you've seen it for real, so it must be
Yeah.
pretty,
Yeah,
pretty
it's like
specky.
it's interesting, especially when the mountains are covered in snow and you come down that valley.
Yeah.
Like, because you've got to obviously position yourself and then you just come down
Right.
Side because you've literally got mountains on both sides of you,
Yeah.
and then you can just sort of see the runway. It's a cool place to land. But
Yeah.
I'll admit I'm not I'm alright flying, but I don't like the bumps.
Right.
I don't like that falling sensation. So
Right.
obviously when you're feeling a bit of wind coming off the mountains, like the plane's sort of just
Yeah.
going a little bit like that. So
Right. Right.
as
Okay.
a pilot, it'd be, I guess, quite a challenge to land. So.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we'll just taxi forward and off the runway. So just push the throttles forward. This one here, throttles forward, and then use the tiller wheel when we get to the end to taxi off. So not too much, just enough to get us moving. So once we're moving, you can bring it back to idle. That's it, all the way back now.
So how does the plane go? Like obviously this runway probably can be a bit slippery in winter, like ice and stuff. How does the plane sort of manage that?
Well, there can't be ice on the runway, they have to clear it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, aeroplanes are designed to be able to, handle a certain amount of rain or slush, but if it's too much, then no. Yeah, it has to be cleared. Yeah. Give it a bit more throttle if we slow down too much, and then we'll take the taxiway off to the right. Yeah. So just enough to keep it moving, and then bring it back down again. And round we go.
I don't really see those tall buildings just aren't there. Like they're not there in real life.
Yeah, it's generic buildings, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So keep going, give it a bit of throttle, and keep going round. And as we're taxiing back,
So I'm looking at like the hills look pretty realistic, like from what I remember. But yeah,
but the building's not, yeah.
because yeah, the airport tower is down, yeah, right where that sort of that building is. That's sort of where it's sort of sitting.
Right.
Oh no, sorry, it'll be about here. But there's all houses down once you just past the runway. It's like all the houses just between you and the lake.
Right. Alrighty, so we'll bring it to a halt here somewhere. So park brake on, and we'll leave the engines running because there's another flight straight after us. So taxiway lights off, and this one here, and fasten seatbelt sign off, strobes off, that one there, yep, and the position light can come off, leave the anti-collisions on because the engine's still running, and that will be fine. Congratulations, Captain.